Hello, fellow Tech Trekkers. My name is Chris Demo. Hello, fellow Tech Trekkers. My name is Chris Demo, and I'm going to give you a quick presentation on Zynga, one of the companies that we'll be visiting in January. Here's my agenda for this presentation. And let's go ahead and launch right into an overview of the company. The company was originally founded in April 2007 by a gentleman named Mark Pincus. The original name of the company was Presidio Media, and the name was changed to Zynga in July 2007. Interestingly, Zynga was the name of Mark Pincus's American Bulldog, hence the logo. The mission of Zynga is connecting the world through games. Quite simply, the company develops social games that work on mobile platforms and via the internet through Zynga.com and social networking websites such as Facebook. The games are offered on what's known as a freemium model. They're free to play, but you must pay for certain in-game items and features. One important primary thing to know about Zynga is its relationship with Facebook. Mark Pincus was an early investor in Facebook, and Texas Hold'em, now known as Zynga Poker, was Zynga's first game and was launched through Facebook in 2007. Another one of Zynga's big hits, Farmville, was the first game on Facebook to reach 10 million monthly active users. This occurred in 2009. Also in 2009, Zynga became Facebook's #1 gaming app developer, gaining over 40 million monthly active users. In 2010, Zynga entered an agreement with Facebook to exclusively use Facebook credits. In exchange, Facebook received a 30% cut from Zynga sales. Before I go any further, I want to have a quick aside for a vocabulary lesson. You already heard me utter the phrase monthly active users. There are two other phrases that relate to metrics used in the gaming industry that you'll hear throughout this presentation and throughout your investigation of Zynga. They, in addition to monthly active users, there's also daily active users, DAU, and monthly unique users, MUU. I'd like to now go ahead and introduce you to the leadership of the company. Don Mattrick is the CEO, and he was appointed to that position in July 2013. Prior to joining Zynga, Mattrick worked at Microsoft, where he was in charge of Microsoft's entertainment division, meaning that he oversaw pretty much everything to do with the Xbox, as well as Microsoft's PC and mobile interactive entertainment. Prior to joining Microsoft, Mattrick was the president of Worldwide Studios for Electronic Arts, another company that we'll be visiting. So he has got extensive experience in this industry. Mark Pincus is still an influence with the company, serving as the chairman of its board of directors. Clyde Downey is the company's COO, and David Lee is the CFO. I'd like to go ahead and explain to you a little bit about the funding that has taken place to get Zynga to the position that it is at today. As you can see from the funding rounds listed on this slide, the company has raised $860 million. It's interesting to note that early investors included some of what I term highly successful internet and Silicon Valley personalities. There was Reid Hoffman, the co-founder of LinkedIn and former COO of PayPal, who is now a prominent venture capitalist. And there was Peter Thiel, pictured on the slide, who is the co-founder of PayPal and a first investor in Facebook. I'd now like to take a look at the financial performance and well-being of the company. While this slide does not show the performance of the company's stock in 2014, I think it is a great graphic showing the demise of the stock price since its IPO on December 16, 2011. As you can see by the blue Bulldog logo, the stock has decreased in value by 70% from its IPO to July 26, 2013. Currently, the stock is valued at $3.01, and this slide shows you that operating revenue has also greatly tapered off and followed the negative trend that has been an artifact of the price of Zynga stock. This third graph attempts to show the value of the different games offered by the company by displaying the revenue that each has achieved beginning in Q4 and going out through the end of 2013. I apologize that some of the font on this particular chart is fairly small, and I'll give you a little bit of a chance to check out the key and understand the color scheme in the bars in the graph. So having observed such a negative trend and decline in revenue and stock price, it's important to ask the question, what in the name of Farmville happened to produce such declines? Please recall my vocab lesson on daily active users, monthly active users, and monthly unique users. As you can see by these charts, there's been a spike in all three in 2012, but they've been largely on the decline since then, and their numbers are pretty equatable to how they were during Q1 of 2011. If we compact two of these metrics, monthly active users and daily active users, and just take a look at changes in the second quarter for all 3 years, 2011 through 2013, you can notice that there was that rise in 2012, but the usage rate has declined at pretty much a more significant rate than it rose. So I'd like to now move to discussing a little bit of the challenges and concerns that face the company. And as you see the graphs on the previous slides, it moves you to ask the question, what has caused such a decline in the users of Zynga games? Two reasons are increased competition and what I see as less innovation coming from Zynga. At its peak, Zynga had 3 of the top 5 gaming apps on Facebook and 5 of the top 10 gaming apps on the whole of the internet. It was the biggest, most popular game developer on Facebook in terms of monthly active users and daily active users. However, as you might be able to surmise, there's a relatively low barrier of entry in the gaming app field, and there's been a strong rise in the strength of Zynga's competition. Chief among them is a company called King. So King has been a formidable challenge to Zynga, and these charts show a side-by-side comparison on the monthly and daily average users for the two companies. Not noted here, but also an important measure in 2014 is that for one particular quarter in this past year, Zynga reported only 39 million daily active users for the quarter, which is less than the overall daily active users for King's prominent game, Candy Crush. Here are some more comparison charts. And this evaluates the monthly active users rankings for the top gaming apps produced by both companies. You can clearly see that its most popular games, Zynga's most popular games, do not rank in the top 10 of the monthly active user ratings, whereas King has 3 games in the top 10. As I continue to discuss challenges and concerns, I'd like to reach back and move forward in talking more about the loss of innovation or struggle of innovation at the company. Certainly, Zynga continues to produce a lot of gaming apps, but it hasn't found or been able to produce games that were as popular and fetched as large a user bases as some of its early games. So many of its more recently released games have only been able to garner small user bases, and these games have been found to be fairly unoriginal, and a good many of what's being produced by the company are simply new editions of originally successful games, such as Mafia Wars, and Words with Friends that are pictured here. Another challenge and concern facing the company is its reliance on whales. Now, whales is also a term that you may be familiar with in the casino gaming industry, and it refers to those gamblers who come to a casino and wager a whole lot of money, which, if it works out in the casino's way, it generates high levels of revenue for the casino. So it's a comparable situation in the online gaming industry as well. And so what's happened is that Zynga is relying on a small percentage of users for a good amount of its revenue. So it's relying on these whales for a good amount of its revenue. And in fact, less than 10% of all Zynga users actually spend money. And then less than 1% of users, these whales, are responsible for between 25 and 50% of the company's revenue. So relying on so few players for such amount of its revenue is definitely a challenging situation. Another challenge and concern is that since Don Mattrick has taken over as CEO, he's moved to cut out games that aren't high-yielding games. The problem here is that with shutting down such games is that people have invested money in the games and they're very passionate about the games, such as Yeovil, which is pictured on the slide. This has resulted in some bad press towards Zynga, and some folks who were playing games that have been discontinued by Zynga have actually moved on to boycott Zynga games entirely. Lastly, another challenge and concern is the cuts in Zynga employees. During in 2013, so under Don Mattrick's time as CEO, there has been a reduction of 18% in the workforce at Zynga. It is all in that same year. It also closed 4 offices throughout the United States. And it's easy to observe or discover the sentiment from ex-software engineers that they were really dissatisfied with the direction that Zynga was headed. So those challenges and concerns are a pretty negative note on the company, and I'd like to go ahead and actually give a positive story about the company as I move to wrap up here. So the company has been involved in a fair number of charitable initiatives and acts of social good. You may recall the large earthquake that devastated Haiti back in 2010, Well, Zynga actually raised $1.5 million towards assisting the people of Haiti to in terms of generating relief money, and much of this funding came through Zynga providing certain in-game purchases for its customers that would, if the customer makes the purchases of a feature of the game, the revenue from that goes directly to supporting the earthquake relief. The company has also produced certain socially conscious or gaming apps that focus on social issues. One of which is Half of the Sky, which addresses the oppression of women, and it's intended to raise social awareness about the mistreatment of women in other countries. Lastly, the employees have been very active in terms of social good efforts in the Bay Area. They've partnered with the YMCA and built playgrounds for children, and the company has also donated over $750,000 for Toys for Tots. And Toys for Tots, if you're unfamiliar, distributes toys to children for Christmas whose parents can't afford them. I'd like to quickly introduce you to our contact and host at the company. His name is John Bacon, and he's a mobile developer. He is an Eagle. He went on the undergraduate tech track in 2011 and graduated from Boston College in 2012. Lastly, while I wish I had the time to address an important facet of the company that can be summarized in the phrase that Zynga is a data company masquerading as a gaming company. In other words, there's a lot of power in the data and analytics that Zynga has been able to harbor throughout its existence. And for more information on this feature of the company, I ask that you refer to the readings that I posted. I thank you for listening and watching this presentation. I hope you've found it to be informative, and I look forward to going on the tech track with you all. Cheers.